Welcome back to Night Talk. Mike Pinsek with you this evening, and I just can't wait to talk to the Soup Nazi on Night Talk. Yeah, Larry Thomas, the actor who portrayed the Soup Nazi, actually he was one of my favorite characters in that show, along with George. George was my all-time favorite character. But more about that coming up in just a few moments. But Dr. Audrey Guskey's here. Did you meet the Soup Nazi yet?
I did. I got his autograph and everything.
Did you really? Because he brought a bunch of
samples. He didn't bring samples, but other than that, Mike,
samples of the
good.
soup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, David Johnson said something. He thought that he was actually marketing at one point some kind of soup of his own. I don't know whether that's true or not. In fact, David will be joining us later because he's a huge Seinfeld fan.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of that right now. That's coming up a little later on. So we'll put Larry and the Soup Nazi stuff aside here for just a minute. No soup for you. And we'll talk about supermarket wars. Speaking of soup, the supermarket wars. I thought the Giant Eagle had won the war actually, but that's not true.
No, it's not true anymore. Giant Eagle is still winning it, but they are winning it just barely. What's happened is 90% of all grocery purchases about 3 years ago was made in supermarkets. So it was Giant Eagle, Shop and Save, Foodland, the big ones. What we found now, about 50% of all grocery types of items are now purchased at the traditional supermarket, and the rest of it is purchased at discount stores, at warehouse types of stores, at Walmart, at specialty stores. So maybe you go to Whole Foods or you go to a little Italian supermarket. And so, it's spread out. People have so many options to buy food, and so it truly is supermarket wars. Who's the winner? Fortunately for us, it's the consumer.
Well, do we really win? Because let's start with Giant Eagle, because they have this what on the surface looks like a great deal. You've got the Get-Go gas card thing. If you spend, I think it's $50, then you get 10 cents off per gallon on one fill-up. Of course, people were trying to rip that off. They were pulling cars in one after another and filling them up on the same card. But I have had, I don't know how many people say to me who know about these things, because I'm not a big grocery shopper. They'll say, the prices at Giant Eagle are actually higher, so I'm paying more for that gas card.
That's absolutely right.
Okay, you're the marketing expert. You're a consumer marketing expert at Duquesne University. Is that true or not?
That is, Mike. That is absolutely true, because who's going to be paying for all of those discounts that you get, whether it's the gas cards or some other promotion, free turkeys or something like that? It's the bottom line is the consumer's paying for it. So if you are getting all these promotional types of things, it's not in a sense free or promotions. It's something that, because the prices of the products, the supermarket items, are significantly higher. So it's really not a win for consumers overall.
Okay, but how do the Giant Eagle prices then compare against Shop and Save, Foodland, their main similar type competitors?
Well, Shop and Save also has the fuel perks type of a benefit, so they're probably pretty comparable. When you've got the independent stores like the Foodland and the Coons Market, they're relatively smaller, so they don't have the buying power, so their prices are probably comparable to a Giant Eagle. I think Giant Eagle is probably a little bit higher, followed by Shop and Save, followed by the independents.
Okay.
But we're still talking pennies. But unfortunately for shoppers, a lot of times it's the Walmarts and the discounters and the warehouse stores and the supermarket clubs, warehouse clubs that you can go to where the bargains are. What worries me a lot is when we're shopping at Walmart all the time and they've become by far the significant #1 store that we have, retailer out there. It's just so much power, and you're losing competition, and a lot of their products are coming from China, and so we're losing keeping the money in this country. We're putting out of business a lot of smaller independent mom and pop stores as a result of this big conglomerate.
Yeah, but isn't that capitalism? I mean, isn't that the way capitalism works?
Well, it is capitalism, and people vote with the dollars, and that's where they're going, to save the money.
But the fact is, what you're saying is that if you go to the Walmart supercenters or what Target has some of these things too. Who else? Trying to think of some of the others. There's another one too that it's not coming to me right now. And then there are the big warehouse stores, Costco and Sam's Club, which is an offshoot of Walmart. So are people actually saving significant amounts of money at those places? Or are we just talking pennies here?
It depends. I mean, it depends. A lot of times people will go to a Sam's Club and buy 500 rolls of toilet paper,
that they
paper
may
towels.
not need.
They may not need, and if you really look at item by item, they may not even be saying the amount of money. Or if you're buying a huge vat of laundry detergent, you know, you have to look at the ounces. How much are you paying per ounce? It may save you money to get a smaller one in the long run, or get something on sale at a shop and save. So, you know, you have to be a smart, very astute consumer. A lot of times the mentality of shoppers is they go into the supermarket and they assume because they're buying large volumes in a discounter, they're going to save money, and that is not always the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have some more. We're going to talk about customer service as well on Night Talk in just a few moments. Mike Pinsek with you, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Night Talk. Mike Pinsek with you, and with me is Dr. Audrey Gusky. She's a consumer marketing expert with Duquesne University. So the supermarket wars. I tell you who I like. I like McGinnis Sisters. I wish they would move out to. I keep hearing that they're going to move out to where I live. I live up in the Seven Fields, Cranberry, Mars area. You know, some people think I am on Mars, but they keep I keep hearing that they're going to move out there, but I don't know whether they are. Whole Foods, great store, but by God, are they expensive?
They are. Well, you know, we have Trader Joe's now, which is a similar type of store. They've got the organic foods and very natural foods, significantly less prices. So.
But of course, this is Pennsylvania, so you can't buy wine at Trader Joe's like you can in Ohio. If you go to the Trader Joe's in Ohio, you can buy wine. It's a great store. Those are some of the stores that I'd like to see in my area, in my neck of the woods. So Giant Eagle's under the gun here, so that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Okay, now Business Week came up with their first annual list of the top 25 customer service champs. We're not going to go through 25 of them. We've got the top 10. And I'm just going to read them off here real quick. At number 10, Starbucks. Oh, why am I not surprised? There's one on every damn corner. It's becoming a standing joke now. Enterprise Rent-A-Car. That's interesting because I would have thought Hertz, Avis, one of those. You know, Avis.
Hertz
we try
is
hard.
on the list, but not the top 10.
Really?
Yes.
Enterprise. Wow. Okay.
And I totally applaud them. I think they've done excellent customer service. I'm excited that they're there.
UPS is on there. I don't see FedEx.
They are also in the top 25, but not in the top 10.
Okay. Lexus.
And a lot of other luxury cars are also made the top 25.
Okay. Edward Jones Brokerage. I never heard of them. Wegmans Food Markets. Who are they?
It's a supermarket, but chain obviously, but it's not in this area.
Not in this area. Okay.
No.
Nordstrom is a
legendary. They're absolutely legendary.
They're going to come to Pittsburgh if it takes 10 years, I guess. When are they scheduled now?
In 2 years, it's projected that they're going to be coming. So
I don't know why so far out. I mean, you could build a store in 2 seconds these days.
Well, I think they're still trying to get things organized and maybe make the final decision. So we're hoping.
So that's going to be at the Ross Park Mall.
Yes.
So, you know, if you've never been to a Nordstrom, you got to check Nordstrom out. The prices are higher, but I'm going to tell you something. The customer service at that store is just amazing. There's no question. You're not satisfied? Thank you, sir. What can we do for you? How can we make it right?
They will return
no
anything,
arguments.
Everybody knows. Absolutely. Take anything back.
Even if it's 10 years old, I guess.
Or even if they never sold it to you. They've returned tires. That's the big story that people say. Car tires. They don't sell tires, but they took
the tires
back. A little old lady, her husband died. He had saved lots of shirts, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. Still the tags on them. Let's say $5 for a men's dress shirt. Took them all back. Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right. Then we have Cadillac. Now that surprises me. Cadillac at number 3. I would have thought, I don't know, one of those, I don't know, maybe one of the Japanese brands would have been up there. But that's good. Good for Cadillac. Four Seasons Hotels, they're legendary.
They are too.
I have no idea who USAA Insurance, they're at the number 1 spot for customer service.
It's an insurance company that provides benefits for a military as well as their families, even after they're deceased. So.
Well, good. Then I'm glad to hear that they do good customer service for our military.
Really good news for them.
Okay, I don't see JetBlue on this top 10 list.
Well,
here.
Mike, it's interesting that you would say that because originally they had the Business Week list that they had compiled, and as you can see, JetBlue was
Let's get
number
a shot
4.
of it. Can you see this? This is the cover of Business Week, if we can zoom in on that on one of these cameras.
And they have been literally crayoned out, and they have now moved totally off the list.
So they actually were originally on the list at number 4.
Yeah. And Business Week included a nice write-up as to the reason why they bumped them off. They felt it just wasn't right after all the things that had happened. JetBlue is trying to bounce back. They come up with a customer bill of rights.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of legalese talk, and there's some issues. So it may not be what people are projecting.
Well, for an airline to leave their passengers sitting in the aircraft on the tarmac for 12 hours, in some cases, some people were sitting there for even longer while they're waiting for this damn plane to take off.
It was even worse than that because what ended up happening is a lot of the planes weren't weren't where they were supposed to be. So some people were stranded for many, many days. So it took them about 10 days to actually get their schedule back in order. And some people, it was just horrendous for a lot of individuals.
All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break here. And what are we doing? I think we have the Soup Nazi coming up a little later on too. So don't go away. The Soup Nazi from Seinfeld is going to be joining us as well on Night Talk with Mike Pintek. Well, welcome back to Night Talk with Mike Pintek, and with me is Dr. Audrey Gusky from Duquesne University. She's a marketing expert, and how many classes a day do you teach in marketing?
I teach 3 different classes each semester. No,
each semester?
Each semester, yeah.
Oh, okay, not each day.
So it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. I
do
do
you give term papers and stuff like that?
We're on spring break, Mike, so everybody's enjoying themselves.
No, I understand.
But I do give term papers. I'm very tough.
I hate term papers, honest to God.
I've been known as the test Nazi sometimes.
Oh, is that
if
right?
If you can believe it. So the Soup Nazi and I have something in common.
Soup Nazi's coming up. Larry Thomas is going to be joining us shortly. All right, I wanted to ask you about this. This is not, well, you know what, this does tie into marketing. The Bank of America, I've been on this subject for, ever since I heard about this. It just infuriates me. Sorry. But it does. The Bank of America is offering a credit card for illegal immigrants. Now, I know they're couching this in terms of, well, we're trying to help people who don't have a credit history. Was that right? Well, then how come you're offering a credit card to somebody who does not have a Social Security number? You know, in this country, when you're born, you have to have a Social Security number. Why? Because the IRS requires it. When your mom and dad's taxes are being filed, if you're a dependent, you have to have a Social Security number from the day you're born. And the Bank of America is offering credit cards to people who don't have Social Security numbers. And this is aiding and abetting a crime. These people have sneaked across the border and they're living here illegally. And a lot of people are tearing up their credit cards. And I saw a piece from the big, chief big shot over at the Bank of America, doctor, who said, well, this is not affecting our profit margins. Yes, we're getting some people who are canceling their accounts, but it's not really affecting us. Do you think this is going to affect them eventually?
Well, first of all, Mike, I don't think a lot of people know about this yet because they're not broadcasting.
We're trying to help tell everybody about it.
Well, we are now. I had also heard that Walmart was also thinking of introducing a credit card to immigrants as well. So it's not just Bank of America. I think a lot of companies are planning on doing this.
That kind of makes me laugh because there are a lot of people who have criticized Walmart for allegedly hiring illegals, and I don't know whether they've been raided. I guess they have. I'm not certain about that, but not in this area, of course. But I seem to recall something like that. But that's kind of funny.
I'm just wondering how they're going to be able to do this. I mean, isn't there some kind of legal stipulation where it probably shouldn't go through?
Apparently not. I think there are some legislators who are going to try to stop this. I hope they're successful. But believe it or not, it's not illegal for the Bank of America to offer a credit card to an illegal immigrant.
And the reasons, obviously, is they want to get additional money. They feel the immigrants are, an avenue, a target audience that they really haven't tapped into, and it's the direction they're moving in. And obviously the numbers are there and the money is there, and that's where they're moving. But
and meanwhile, the Federal Reserve, this is the other part of this story that you may not be aware of. The Federal Reserve, this is the big bank that sets the interest rates that you and I have to pay. Federal Reserve has been making it very, very easy for illegals to send money back to Mexico, because that's what they do. They cross the border, they work here illegally, and then they send the money across the border back to the homeland there in Mexico. And the Federal Reserve has been making this less onerous, more convenient for these people. And at the same time, the federal government supposedly is cracking down on illegals. You know what this proves to me? It proves to me that our government, the Bush administration, is actually beholden to the big corporations and the big banks and the money people. That's what it tells me. It's not about the people. It's not about protecting our borders.
It's very, very frustrating because the average consumer who works very hard, has a family, has done everything correct, is legitimate in every single way. And, when you do things like this and provide credit to, illegal immigrants, well, what if their credit card histories aren't as good? The chances are the rates are going to go up higher. And as a result, it's going to, cost more money for all of us as well.
You know what, Doctor, that's a very good point, because you know what's going to happen here? If I'm an illegal immigrant and I don't have a Social Security number and I'm basically working under the table anyway, I get my credit card from Bank of America, I'm going to run up a nice big bill and disappear.
And how could you track them?
Exactly. And who's going to pay the bills then?
It's going to be us. It's going to be spread across us, and we're going to be paying more money.
Higher fees, higher interest rates down the road. If I wish I had a Bank of America card to tear up, frankly, but I don't.
You could get one and then just tear it up.
You know, that's a good point. I had not thought about that. Okay, well, Dr. Guskey, it's a pleasure having you once again.
Always great.
You can stick around and and watch us with the Soup Nazi.
I would love to
maybe
do
get
that.
your picture taken with him. The Soup Nazi is coming up next. Larry Thomas, if you love Seinfeld, you're going to love the Soup Nazi. It's up next right here on Night Talk.